explain a little bit about some of your background?
Yeah, I was pantomime in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. I worked with some well-known bands like Pink Floyd, Genesis, Van Morrison. Worked for the Dead for a couple of years, Jerry specifically. And it was before its time. There was no video cameras, and it was a visual audio experience. Now, I told you that word pantozique before, P-A-N-T-O-Z-I-Q-U-E, and it's the marriage and synchronization of mime, music, and satire. Now, there's nothing worse than a bad pantomime show. What's he doing with it? You know? But when it's done well, really well, and you're working in the fourth dimension, because we don't use props, it's an international language. So I worked in every country in the world except for 8 countries. And there was never a language problem, because I was reflecting them as human beings. And that's what a pantomime is supposed to be. He's like every man. And he's supposed to exorcise people's good points, bad points, things to be corrected later on in life. And in the name of high entertainment, they learn things. And I get something back, because the only true diplomacy today is in the arts. And this band, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, is the epitome of that. They go on all over the world, and everyone knows what the word love means, and everyone knows what the word peace means, and everyone knows what brother and sister means. And by the way, the press called us hippies in the 60s. We called each other brother and sister. That's how this band is. They're like I told you before, like the flowers and the vegetables that we planted in the 60s. And so they're delivering that same thing. Let's live as brother and sister. Let's take down the walls and build bridges. That's what they're about. That's why you see Alexander running out into the audience all the time, because he doesn't believe in that security barrier between the audience and the performer. To him, they're part of the band. And that's what's so incredible about this. And that very magic in its essence is why we are all here.
How rare is it to see that in a band nowadays?
All but extinct, really. You know, I was never totally taken with the Grateful Dead's music. I loved Jerry. He was a very close and personal friend of mine. And Jerry was a magic person, in addition to all the other things we all know of him. But Jerry believed in communal living. He believed in the gathering, and thus the Deadheads blossomed around that band, as the Sharpies will around this band. People gather to where the music speaks to them, you know, on a personal level. That's why they're singing along, you know. That's why they're here. They're here to identify, to know that we're all one people. And that sums it up, man. So that's why I'm here. Well, that and little nepotism, my son's in the band.